Trying to make sure that we have a good angle. If you only saw how I set, I think that's going to be good. Maybe a little bit more down so you can see. Anybody who gets on board and wants to see this can give me a thumbs up if you're getting a good signal and a good view of my cutting board, which it looks like you do. Okay, perfect. Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm really excited to do this, and I was so looking forward to doing it yesterday. But things happen in life, and I was getting some samples set out, and I met somebody at the business center, and one thing led to another, and just my whole afternoon kind of changed. So I appreciate everybody hanging with me and waiting till today to go ahead and get this recipe. Now, I think it was last Friday I had posted that I have an amazing recipe and that I was making it, and I kind of showed the ingredients on that post, and so many of you responded saying, can I please have that recipe, can I please have the recipe? So I thought, well, what a better time than to make it. And I'm always having people comment about my salsa. I've made it forever, and so I just thought I would make a small batch. Normally I make huge batches of everything, because once you have all the ingredients, you might as well, because it really keeps for a long period of time. Now the guacamole, not so much, but we go through guacamole really fast in this house. So I'm going to share with you my secrets of what I do in the kitchen. Now, for some of you who like to have very specific recipes, I am not that kind of cook. I cook from scratch, and I don't really ever measure anything. I know it drove one of my best friends crazy, Susan. She hated the fact that I would never measure anything, and so one time I was making my spaghetti recipe. This is when the kids were really little, and she's like, I'm measuring everything before you put it in the pot. And she did, and so she's had the recipe now, and she's gifted that recipe to her kids forever. Susan, if you're watching, and I can't see from this far away who's actually on and who's not, and so I will apologize up front and say if you have any questions, I'll answer them, but just make sure you put them in the feed. So we're going to start off with the guacamole. I've got a nice dish. This is going to be the dish that I transfer it to. Yeah, I better get a bigger bowl to mash. Hang on. Grab a big bowl to mash it. Sorry about that. And then I need to get my masher, which I got right here. Perfect. You're going to need one of these guys. You can use a fork too, in that it doesn't matter at all. All right, so I think that you can see everything from where I'm standing. It looks like it's good. What I normally do is I go ahead and start off with the avocados. So I'm not going to use all of these avocados. I think I'm going to use about 6 of them, and then save the rest. But one of the things I wanted to show you is, how do you know you have a really good avocado? Because sometimes you're at the store and you don't know which one to pick. Well, I learned this secret a while ago. Obviously, you can do the squish test, but if you want to make sure it's not overripe, you take off the little seed cap and pull it back. And if it was bright green, which this is not, this is definitely ripe. It's almost to the point where it's overripe. But yesterday I bought these and they were beautiful, so it doesn't surprise me. But if it were, oh, sorry. Okay, so I didn't remove it entirely. So if it were a bright green, not this beautiful color green, but if it was super bright or like a yellow, it would be underripe. This green right there, it's a beautiful avocado. So let me go ahead and let's go ahead and show you. This is a technique that I'm sure most people know about. When you open up the avocado, usually one side sticks and it's hard to get out the seed on the other side. But literally, I just take my spoon and I go on the inside of an avocado. And I know this sounds like I'm doing some basic things, but some people, well, I guess I should say, one of my girlfriends who said, if you're going to do something, make sure you show how you're doing it, because not everybody knows how to get all of the wonderful yumminess, all of the meat out of the avocado. So I'm going to assume that you do know that, but just in case you don't, there'll be a few tips that you'll come a long way. So if you just kind of take your knife and you stab right in the middle of the seed and give it a twist, it comes right out. And then it's all clean and you'll get all of the meat from your avocado. Now I save the seeds because you can put the seeds in your shakes, which is great. And oh my God, since we're sitting here and we're talking, and I know you might be talking to me, but you might not be, I was just like, every one of my friends who got their shakes, their peach mango shakes, man, I mean, it was driving me crazy. So I finally had mine for the first time, and let me tell you, I used to think our pina colada was like through the roof, unbelievable, but no, it's the peach mango. And I know you're going to be sad when you hear this, but the peach mango is, it's already sold out. So again, if you're just coming on and you didn't see what I was talking about, when you remove the end to the avocado and it's nice colorful green on the inside, this is that little seed that's there. If you can do that at the store. Now, I try not to do that if I pick one up and I kind of know it's not ready, just because I don't want somebody else to have a brown avocado. But that's really how you tell whether or not it's ready or not. Ready to open up. And again, just right there, smack dab in the middle, it releases beautifully. See how nice that is? Just gorgeous. And then I take my spoon and just go on the edges and scoop out all of the meat out of the avocado. So simple. All right, so this one, I think I can show you why. I'll show you the difference. This is a good example. See this one here? That is brown. So when we open this up, you're going to see some yucky brown in here. But for guacamole, it'll be all right. Yep, exactly. See the difference? See the brown on the outside? It just means it's gotten a little overripe. It's not going to do anything to the taste at all. If you were trying to make a really pretty slice of something and have it on a salad, obviously you wouldn't want to use that. But this is going in guacamole. It's all going to get mashed up together, and it's not going to impact the flavor or the taste whatsoever. And if it's really soft, by all means, you can discard a little bit of it. I was fortunate. Sometimes, the avocados go on sale at our local Publix, and sometimes they don't. And I was lucky enough that they were on sale this week, which I didn't know that was going to be the case. So I am so excited because I got a good deal on them. And I was talking to somebody at Pure Bar today, Joanne, if you're watching, and she's like, oh, the best place to get avocados. And I said, yeah, but where my place is it's really hard to get to. It's called the Town Center. And on a Friday afternoon, going to the Town Center, nah, not going to happen. And you're not going to catch this girl unless she has to go to the Town Center, really, to go to the Town Center. I'm so sorry. I know a lot of you love the Town Center if you're local. It's not my cup of tea. It's just so crowded. Now, I do love some of the stores because they have a DSW there, but oh, this is going to be beautiful. That's another good example. Okay, so I'm almost done with opening up all the avocados and putting them in. You're going to be amazed at how easy this recipe is. I mean, if you ever bought store-bought guacamole, just don't, number one, because they've got preservatives in it, number two. One, don't, for one reason, preservatives. The second thing is, it just doesn't taste as good as when you make it homemade. And there's really nothing to it. If you get comfortable with knowing how to open up an avocado, which we've gone through several of them now, and it's just so simple. And it tastes so much better when you put in your own ingredients. All right, so that covers, I'll save that seed over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, I want to actually, 5. I want to do one more. I'll do one more. That's another reason why to keep your seeds. Because you can count how many you're putting in if you lost track. and since I'm talking to you, which I don't normally talk to anybody when I'm cooking, because I'm usually by myself, unless my girlfriend, Melissa, is here, and she's coming with my goddaughter, so they might walk in while we're having fun in the kitchen. And that will be fun because she loves helping out in the kitchen. She's a great helper. Okay, so that is the avocado. And what I like to do is, as soon as I get the most important main ingredient in the bowl that we're mixing it in, I really like to add my spices so that they can kind of start to gel together. And the biggest spice for me in this recipe is garlic. And the garlic is just many ways that you can get garlic. So thank you, Sarah, you just came to my mind. Make sure I explain what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. So this garlic is great. What I like to do is buy garlic that either comes from Canada or garlic that comes from California, United States. Most of our garlic is grown in California. And I've done a lot of research on this, and I won't bore you with the statistics of how things are grown, because that's not really necessary. But if you're going to buy fresh garlic, you want to ask the grocer, if you're buying fresh that's in a clove, where that garlic comes from. Because if it comes from China, you really, and again, I'm not trying to bash any country or anything, but I just want you to know that I've gone to a lot of different classes on this, and you want to try to stick with where and you know how the garlic is actually grown. This garlic comes out of California. So I love this garlic. And I'm a big garlic person, and again, I don't measure. So this is going to be to your taste. When you play around with this recipe for a little bit, you'll figure out what you love. Now, I really like things spicy. We at the house like things spicy. And the garlic adds just such a great flavor. So I'm going to put some heaping tablespoons in, and I'm not measuring. Oh, sorry, you're out of view. All right, that should be a good start. All right, the next thing that is going to go in is going to be tomato. And I've gone ahead and washed all of these. So I'm going to probably use 3 full tomatoes. I'll see if I decide to do less when I see how juicy they are. And these look pretty juicy because they've been sitting out for a really nice long time, and they've been washed, so you know they're ready to go. And I think you can see how I'm cutting the tomato. But you know, our tomatoes right now in Florida are in season. So these actually are not, I didn't buy these at our farmer's auction because I didn't have a chance to run down to St. Augustine today. My intention was to do that. But I was putting together a gift basket for our elementary school in the neighborhood because they're having this incredible, oh my gosh, so if you live in Palencia, and this is our first, you know, year of kind of experiencing some things, and had I not run into Meredith, I wouldn't even known about this, but they're having this beautiful raffle, sit-down dinner. It's extraordinary. There must be about 200 raffle items, maybe more. And they have live auction items, which are pretty phenomenal. If you were lucky enough, I guess they had 110 seats. If you were lucky enough, you would have been able to be there, and you have to be there in order to do the silent raffle and the live auction. So we weren't fortunate enough to get a ticket. I just found out about it because we don't have kids in the school system anymore, and I no longer teach. So, you know, yeah, I guess I know a teacher who teaches there, Amanda Fedak. If you watch this, you need to keep me posted on what's going on, because I don't have any of the connections there like I used to, which is so strange because all my years in the schools. So, but at any rate, so I'm dicing the tomato, and that's what you want to do is you want to make it chunky enough so that when the chip goes in, it picks up more than just, you know, mush. So I like to dice, and I like to dice about inch cubes is basically what I like to do. And I do a crisscross weave pattern, and also I use a serrated knife. For tomatoes, I feel that that's the best way to cut. You know, this is actually a tomato knife, and they have knives that are specifically set up for that. But a serrated edge just keeps the lines of a tomato beautiful, and it cuts through the skin, the delicate skin of the tomato, just, beautifully. So I think I'm just going to, based on how juicy this tomato is coming out and the volume, I think I'm just going to stick with 2 this time. So again, see, I love flexibility. I do. I'm not a rigid person, so flexibility, if you saw the counter out here, I'm supposed to have that picked up, by the way, before Brad gets home. It didn't happen yet. So I promised you all we would get this recipe done. And I wanted to do it before all of the people arrive tonight. It's not a lot of people. It's our goddaughter and Mark and Melissa. And I guess anybody else who's around town, come on over. The more the merrier. So I decided, since I'm making the salsa and guacamole, that we'll go ahead and do shrimp diablo. And again, I'll do another. I couldn't possibly stay on live that long. I think I think they turned me off. Anyway, so this goes. Just jump it right in to your bowl, your mixing bowl. And the next one that I'm going to get is an onion. Now I like to use sweet onion as opposed to a hot onion. Because the hot is going to come from the jalapeno anyway, so I really prefer to have the sweet onion. And these happen to be, we're obviously down here in Florida, we're close to Vidalia, Georgia, and so these are Vidalia onions. But, you don't have to have Vidalia onions, you can have just any old sweet onion. And the sweet onions, for those of you who don't know the difference, they're just a little yellow, they're not the strict white ones, and they're not red, so they're sweet. I have been known, if I didn't have a sweet onion, to use a red onion in the salsa recipe. And again, I'm cutting the onion in half, and I want to stick to really inch less with the onion, a little less with the onion, like ½ inch to, just a really fine dice. I love the smell of an onion. It's so fresh. And, I think that's the joy of cooking as well. And I don't know how many of you love to cook, but I have loved to cook for, I don't even know when I haven't loved to cook. Even when I was young, I used to cook for the family, believe it or not. And, when I was in college, I was a master with the crock pot. How many of you out there, did you ever have the crock pot? Because we weren't allowed to have a cooking plate in the dorms, and I was an RA. I had to put myself through college. So in the dorm, we were allowed to have hot pots. So I was the master chef with the hot pot. I could make a mean macaroni and cheese. But actually, I did great with oatmeal. I did a lot in my crock pot. The oatmeal, that was the hardest part. Have you ever tried to get oatmeal that might have been stuck in a crock pot? It was not easy to get it out. But I was a master at the, and some of the soups, I would buy some, fresh herbs and just make a soup. And people were like, I can't believe you're doing that. It's like, well, it's easy. So anyway, 1 onion, and I may stop out, I can see how much I have here dicing. And if you cannot see it, that's the thing that you will be frustrated with me about, is that, again, I don't have a specific recipe. I just look at what it looks like and what it tastes like. And I've done this recipe for so long that that's all I've ever done. So Susan, I can't tell if you're watching. I know you're gonna, don't be talking smack, because everyone can see it. But she would give me a hard time. Like, would you please write that recipe down? I'm like, yeah, of course I will. And I never did. I was cooking. Who had time to write it down? I'm like, you come over and document it. So she came over and documented it. Too funny. But good memories anyway. All right, again, I'm dicing it really fine because you don't want really big chunks of onion to be the main bite of your guacamole at all. And I guess because of the fact that I'm going to be making some salsa, I think I'm going to do, I did an onion and a half. maybe an onion and 3/4. So I'm going to save this little chunky piece right here and save it for the, just put it in my little ramekin, and I'll save it for the salsa. So I'm just going to put that over there. Perfect. So now in goes the onion. I know, I wish that I was like, how they can, you know, freeze frame and, you know, kind of come back in. We don't have that flexibility. So some of you are going to sit there and say, would you get on with it? But if you looked at that post yesterday, you saw all the ingredients. So if you get tired of watching all of this go on, I understand completely. So now I'm working with the jalapeno, and I'm going to warn you. I don't follow my own advice, but I do need to warn you. Because you will see me. These are very potent jalapenos. I can just smell them, right? I mean, the minute I cut into them. So, because the oils are so, I mean, they're like intense. If you're the kind of person who puts your hands after you work with a jalapeno near your eyes, you really should be wearing gloves. Because that oil stays on your hands for a very long time. Now, I do have a secret. What I use is I use a little vinegar, and I just pour it into my hands after I'm done cooking, and I get the most of the oils off, and then I, of course, wash really thoroughly. But if you want to save some pain, because I have actually put my hands near my eyes before, and I have actually, I'm going to start with 2 jalapenos and then have a 3rd one ready. And I'm slicing them. If you can see, I'm making slices, and then what I'm going to do is crosshair them and get them diced. That's how this is going to do. And I do have a food processor, and I would normally use the food processor if I was starting with the salsa, and then I just have all of the extra ingredients left over. It's just a way that, it's an easy way to kind of cheat. Now the other thing is that a lot of people like to take the seeds out of their jalapeno. I don't like to take seeds out of my jalapeno because that's, again, where a lot of the heat is. And, but for some of you, you might not want to do that. And I actually should be putting my glasses on while I'm doing this, because some of the spray from, they're right here. I normally wear them on my head, so I went for my head. You do that all the time? I do that all of the time. So I'm going to protect my eyes while I'm dicing this jalapeno. It's a wise idea to do. So I can't see, let's see, can't go wrong with fresh guacamole and some salsa. Heck yeah, that's right. Let's see, Diane, yeah, I can see your family. Oh, thanks, Diane. Okay, so I really want to dice these up, much like I did the onion. These are so strong, I'm starting to sweat. That's amazing. That's what jalapeno does. It makes you sweat. Now I have a friend who, I don't know, Mike, are you on? I can't really tell. He eats the ghost peppers, and I know there's a stronger pepper than the ghost pepper. Who knows? Well, go ahead and talk amongst yourselves, and if I can see it, let me know. Who knows what the hottest pepper is? Whatever the hottest pepper is, my friend can eat them. Mike Wethorn, if you're watching or you're hopping on, I'm talking about you. I mean, I'm sweating down my back. I don't know if you can tell, but that's how hot this jalapeno is. So this is going to be some really good fresh salsa. And, or not just salsa, but guac. This is the guac right now. But if you can see my cutting board, I started with 2. And because of how hot these are and how it is affecting my body, I know that just this much right here is going to be more than enough. So what I'm going to do is just put this amount into my bowl. And I'm going to save the rest for the salsa that's coming up. So, because it is strong. And you don't want your guacamole to be strong. You know, your salsa, it could be strong. It could be hot. But your guac, it should be really yummy, but not overpowering from the jalapeno. Unless you're making it for Mike Wethorn. I actually, when they came down for Bike Week, I had to make a side of everything so we could make it really spicy for him. Well, not everything, but you know, when he wanted spice. And I had cut up extra jalapeno just so he could just put them in his mouth and eat them. I don't know how the man can do that, but he does. Okay. I didn't see if anybody put down what the hot pepper is, but all right, so in goes the jalapeno. And the next item that's going to go in is going to be a lime juice and chipotle peppers and pink Himalayan salt. These are my go-to secrets. These are the 2 secrets to my my salsa. The chipotle pepper, and this is something that I learned from a restaurant in. Oh, hey Maddie, we have everyone's coming in. This is something that it's a restaurant called Ceviche in Kentucky. This is one of the secrets that I learned about this. Is the chipotle pepper. So I don't, again, measure this, so it's very spicy, and I just put it in. And what this one does, excuse me, that jalapeno is so strong that I'm having a hard time breathing. So you know it's a good jalapeno when, sorry, I just didn't know if that was going to be bothering you. So then the next thing you want to do with your lime is take off that little seed again, and before you start to use it, you want to crush it. You want to kind of crush it up. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing down on the lime and just getting it all juiced up. You want to get it all nice and soft and juicy. That jalapeno is so strong, unbelievable. And so I'm smushing it down. And what it does is it releases all of the fibers inside the fruit, right? And when you do that, more juice will come out into the bowl. And one of the things you want to grab is a spoon and cut your lime in half, and see how juicy it is now? You can almost see isn't that beautiful? Oh my God, it smells so fresh. So you want to take your spoon. Can you see? I'm going to move this over so you can see a little bit better. See the bowl? Perfect. So you want to take your spoon and you want to dig into all of the areas that all around, so you get the meat of the lime as well. And I'm going to squeeze as I stick my spoon in the middle. Now they have little juicing things that you can use too, but this works just as well. And it's faster, and you're not making another dirty dish. But I also want the inside meat of the lime as well. So that's beautiful. And if you've kind of done a little bit of a pre-juice to your lime, you'll get all of those the meat out of the lime. And I'm going to use two limes for this because there's so much. I have 6 avocados in here, so I'm going to use 2 limes for this, which is beautiful. Or maybe I'm going to do 1 1/2. 1 1/2 would be great. So my little helpers came. They just walked in there being really quiet. You want to say hi, Mackenzie? Look, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Well, you have to come over here. Look at your frog! Oh my gosh! Oh, you got to see this frog. Is this for what is this, for the pool?
Yeah.
Holy
Just
cow!
going back. I can land out like this.
Oh my goodness, does it float? This is adorable.
It floats, but you have to cut this off.
Okay, okay. Can I have a kiss?
Sure.
Good to see you. I'm so happy to see you.
Hello.
And there's Melissa. She's going to be shy. You going to say hello?
Hello. Hi.
She's my sous chef. Okay, so we have 2 more ingredients. Actually 3.
Smells delicious in here.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we are going to use cilantro next. And I don't like to use the stem from the cilantro so much. So it does take a little bit of time, and I probably should have peeled some of that off beforehand. But again, it's about you learning how to do all of this. So what I do is, I've already washed the cilantro, but I'm taking off the big pieces of the stem because you don't want to have, well, my family doesn't like to have the stem of the cilantro in. So the least amount of stems, the best. I love having the trash compactor right next to where I'm working. So convenient.
Grandma Lola.
Yes, sweetheart. I'm not grandmother Laura, I'm godmother, but that's how she says it. What, sweetheart?
Daddy and Mommy and Mackenzie are going to the other pool with the slide.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fabulous. Have fun. Maybe when Godfather Brad gets here and we're done here in the kitchen, we can hop over and see you go down the slide. We have this huge slide in our neighborhood. I have yet to go on it. And it was just open, right?
We were smelly Natty poo-poo.
Oh. Sorry about that.
Sorry, we're ruining it.
No, you're not. You're not. I was talking about the fact that you were going to be coming here soon. I said that it would happen.
I wish they could smell how good it is through Facebook.
Yeah, too bad there would. Well, you know, they have smell-o-vision.
amazing.
Smell-o-vision is supposed to come about, but I don't see that is going to be happening. Okay, so that's good. And so all you want to do, you don't want to keep your cilantro where it is a lot of big leaves. Rather, what you want to do is really get it chopped up nicely. And normally when I work with an herb, I like to use a scissor and cut it in. But for the purposes today, I won't do that. But when you use a scissor and you're actually cutting it, all of the spray, actually if you had an intense camera you would see, the spray from just doing that releases into the food that you're cooking in. And it's a really good way to get those flavors. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so the last ingredient. Yes, love?
There was a worm in the pool.
Oh, did you get it for me?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to, you can get the little fishy guy out and get it.
Okay.
Okay. Yes, thank you for telling me.
Where's the
She's so helpful.
fishy guy?
All right, so the last ingredient that's going to go in, well, there'll be one more I'll show you at the end, but it's the pink Himalayan salt. This is, if you don't have pink Himalayan salt, you need to get it. And this, I got this big container. I got it at Costco. But it will change the way you cook. It'll change your whole life. You probably would never ever use table salt again because it's just that good. And for headaches, homeopathic headaches, if you get the crystallized, this is refined, not refined, but it's just ground up. But if you get the big chunky crystals and you put a couple under your tongue, it actually takes away your headache. It's the best thing. I also put a little bit of pink Himalayan salt in my big jug of water every day. So many good properties. And I think I've posted about it before. I might have to find a post and post it again. I'll post it in this live feed on the bottom. So you want to start with less when it comes to salt, especially pink Himalayan salt. Less is more. So I'm going to use 2 teaspoons, and I know it's not an exact measure. I told you I don't measure exact. And I'm going to leave it at that because I can always make some changes to it later once all of these juices all kind of meld together. So now comes the fun part, and it's just mashing together the wonderful flavors that we have in here and really getting the avocado mixed up in here. And it's looking really good. I don't know if you can see that. But you want to just mash up. Use your potato ricer. That's all this is a potato ricer. And just mash up your avocado. Oh, it does smell heavenly. Melissa is absolutely right. Beautiful. And it looks so yummy. Okay, and we like to have ours kind of chunky. Some people don't like theirs chunky, but we really do at our house. So I'm going to leave it just like that. It is going to be beautiful. And the last thing that I'm going to get is sour cream. And I put a little bit of sour cream in. It makes it a little fluffy, and it makes it go a longer way. So that's what I'm going to get out of the fridge. Now, for those of you who are opting not to, you want to be on the lighter side, don't add the sour cream. Use some plain Greek yogurt. I'm using sour cream because I'm making this for a lot of people, and I don't use that much in it. So a little bit goes a long way, like I said. So again, 2 teaspoonsful. That's about, it's actually technically 3 teaspoons. Okay, so all I need to do is stir this up. Spatula. Melissa, would you get some chips and I'll let you be the taster.
Oh, okay.
So we're just going to mix this all in. See how beautiful, and it just gets a little bit fluffier because you, and it makes it a little lighter green. But again, I think that you could go easily with the, it'll be a little tart, a little tangy with the plain Greek yogurt, but just really excellent. Okay, so we are going to transfer this to here.
You need to stay over there.
And believe it or not, by the end of the night, this will be gone.
Oh, yeah. Especially on a Friday night.
And there you have it. We'll taste it, make sure it doesn't need any extra salt. And we'll let Melissa be the taster.
We've only had this a few times, so.
Just a few.
Mmm. That's so good. Just
Awesome.
enough spice.
Yeah. Perfect. So again, like I said, you can play around with those spices on your own. I don't measure anything because I think these kind of, well, I think every food should be to your tasting. That I just do. So.
And
All right.
peppers, all the ingredients always taste different.
Yes, they do. That's right. Melissa brings up an excellent point. It's, you know, because depending on the season, it's like I could hardly breathe when I was doing the jalapeno.
They're spicy today.
They're spicy. Yeah, they were totally spicy. So when you have situations like that and you don't like spice, remember the trick is to take the seeds out. Scoop out the seeds before you use the jalapeno. We like spice, so we like to keep that in. All right, what we're going to be doing next is our salsa. And I don't know if any of you are chiming in. I don't see any additional people, but I've made the salsa recipe, well, let's see, before Braxton was born. Probably 4 years before he was born. And I got the recipe. This is our 30th anniversary. My husband and my anniversary is our 30th anniversary this year. So I think I started making this recipe our first year into our marriage, maybe our second. I think it was our first year. And we got the recipe by a restaurant. Well, we got some of the ingredients from a restaurant that's one of our favorite restaurants in the city of Chicago, and it's Lalo's. So they didn't quite give us all of the recipe, but we kind of figured it out on our own. And Al Deasy and I kind of did that. So that's how this recipe has come down from that long ago. So like I said, it's been almost 29 years since I've been making it, or 20, and you've had it for 10. So it's so simple. It's really, again, a really simple recipe. And I'm going to make a very small batch. So when people come to the house, they're going to say, how did you do that? Because I've never made this as a small batch. And it's not that I can't. It's just that it's like if you're spending the time and all the energy to do it, why wouldn't you just, and I want to make sure you can see everything. Sorry, yes. Yes, ma'am.
Cabbage?
Of course. Have Mommy get you a chip, okay? Because my hands are kind of, I've got,
You want to try the guacamole?
you want to try the guacamole?
No.
No? Okay.
It's got avocado.
It's not too spicy.
A tiny dip.
You can take a dip.
Tomato.
I can make you a special one for tonight if you'd like.
I really like some.
A special? Well, I'll do that after I do this and we're offline, okay? After we're not live, and I'll make you a special. So, see, there you go. Not everybody likes spice in the family. But most everybody does. So, I'm going to use, when I do this recipe and I make, I'll probably get like 3 or 4 jugs this size. And I cut them all up. I just keep, you know, going batch after batch after batch. What I like to do with that is there's about 30, maybe 40 tomatoes that would do that. So for this one, I'm just going to fill up this container with tomato. And I'm going to then do the onions, the cilantro, and the garlic goes in right after the tomatoes go in, because remember, we want that big spice to go in first. And if those of you who are wanting to stay on live, just keep following. But I know if some of you were wanting to get off, that's the only other thing that we do is we do the onions and the jalapenos. The lime is the most important part in your salsa, as well as your cilantro, and then your pink Himalayan salt. And that's it. It's so easy. It's the easiest recipe ever. But it is going to taste just phenomenal. You will thank me so much. You'll just, I mean, I've had people who have said, Laura, you know, you should, well, I've had a lot of people say I should open a restaurant. And trust me, my passion is there to do it. I just don't think my legs could do it. I just don't, you know, I just don't think so. However, I could observe and help out with the recipes. That's something I could do. But anyway, I'm my own chef in my own mind, just like many of you probably are. But anyway, the salsa recipe is one because we just tweaked it from the recipe that we received, and that's what we've lived by since making it. And I can just tell you that people wish that we would can it or make it in processing. What, honey?
Have another try.
Of course. Ask Mommy when you need it, okay, love? Okay, perfect. That frog is so darn cute. I can't wait to see her floating around in the pool in it.
Yeah, they were sold out with hotcakes. at
Where did you
Costco.
find it? At Costco?
They had a turtle. It was already gone. A lady had 3 in the cart.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then they have a crab.
Oh my gosh. Well, I like the frog. We're turtle people as
Yes.
well. But
Frog.
that was my theme in my first grade classroom. So frogs were for me. Everything was all about the frogs. But turtles, we love turtles. I'm glad we got a frog, Mackenzie. I'm glad you got a frog. That's good. Anyway, again, for the salsa, when you're cutting your tomato, you want to slice it down and then turn it on the other side, and that's how you just dice. It's an easy way, quick way to dice. And again, when you're using your serrated knife, it just works so much better. Cutting through the delicate skin of the tomato, it's so good. So the other thing that I like to do, I guess she's like it. The other thing I don't do is I don't put that middle part. But I don't core the tomato either. Because part of that meat in the tomato for salsa is really, it gives texture and stands up over a period of time. So I don't core out the middle of a tomato, but I will take out the rough part. And that's something good to think about, because you want your salsa, if you make it like the way I'm showing you, it will last in your refrigerator for 3 weeks. I mean, and again, that's why I would never, well, I guess I should never say never, but I can't remember in the last 30 years if I've ever purchased a canned salsa or a jar of salsa. I don't think I've ever, well, I do know that in a pinch when I didn't have ingredients, I bought some fresh that was in the fresh section of the supermarket. But even that, I'd have to doctor up. And I'm going to show you some quick tricks if you don't have the ingredients. Like maybe you're living in an area and you don't have the best tomatoes or the best produce, which transportation today is just amazing. So, I mean, it's really hard not to have it, but maybe you don't. So if you do buy one of those freshly made ones that are in the, or if you have to buy from a jar, one of the ways that you can make it taste amazing, and this is a good secret, again, let me show it to you. Let me grab it from the refrigerator. are these organic spices that are in a tube. So they have this in a tube, and you can actually use real garlic, but I somehow like the paste when you're using something that's been jarred. It just kind of goes along with that texture. But if you add a fresh spice or a fresh herb to something that's a jar, you'll actually enhance the flavor. So, and that's a trick if you're running short on time because you have the kids, and you don't have enough time to make a pasta sauce or some sauce, and you're going to use something from a jar. Make sure you find one that has the lowest amount of sodium, and has the trick to buying the best, the one that has the fewest amount of ingredients in it. Especially ingredients that are preservatives. You want to just try to buy something that says, hey, once you're done using it, if it goes bad, it'll turn bad, in 36 hours after opening the jar. But when you do use something like that, all you have to do is use some fresh spices, some fresh herbs. Oops, sorry, I can't see if anybody says something popped up and I need to turn it off. Sorry about that. Okay, I was not able to see anything going on there. So we had somebody else who joined in. Let's see. Hey, Christina, how are you? Karen Anderson, have to check out. No problem. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for showing your recipe. I'm going to try making it tomorrow. All right, cool beans. Love it. Love it. So right now, those of you who just joined in, because I saw that there were several that popped in, we are in the process of now making the salsa. We start off making the guacamole. And so when this live feed ends, you will be able to see the guacamole recipe. And right now what we're doing is we are dicing up the tomatoes. And again, I like to make them like almost half-inch dices because over a week, the salsa breaks down. And again, that's why I don't core the tomato, because you want to have some of those pieces as you're dicing to stay within the tomato. So you'll see right here, that's a part of the core. So it'll stay nice and structured like that. And the other thing is that it breaks down and kind of blends together. So what you want to do is you want to keep it like a half an inch dice, a large dice for the tomato. The other ingredients, you want a smaller dice, especially the jalapeno, because those are super strong. So I think I've got about maybe 7 more tomatoes that I'm going to be chopping up. We'll see. And this is the hard part. And if I could see if you have questions, feel free to type them. Okay, I don't see. If you have a question, it's kind of stuck in where the questions that all I could read was what I just read. If you do have a question, don't hesitate to ask. And if I catch it after you've watched this you watch this how to do this after the live is ended, I'll take a look and respond. Okay. And some people ask, why wouldn't you put your, I've had people ask me this when they've watched me make the salsa. Why wouldn't you put your tomatoes in the food processor and just do everything in the food processor? It just goes by so much faster. Well, tomatoes, again, are so delicate. And the food processor whips it up and turns it into more of a mushy state. And we like our salsa kind of chunky. I think a good salsa, you want to have salsa that holds up on a chip. And we use our salsa in just about everything. I actually, when the kids were little, we had a recipe called salsa pasta. And I would put chicken, I would grill some chicken. And once it was grilled, I kind of dice it up and put it into a frying pan, like a saucepan. And I would add salsa just right from the dish and let it just soak and make some pasta noodles. And we would have a Mexican pasta dish. I mean, it was just yummy, just amazingly great. Now the kids at the time when I used to make salsa pasta, they were not big into avocado, but I think that would really be great, having some slices of avocado on top of it. And those of you who are staying away from pastas, well, you can just put the salsa on everything. Your chicken. We'll make some tacos with this tonight. When I make the refried beans and when I make my black beans, I actually put the salsa in the pot while they're cooking, and I'll slow cook them. So you get the flavor of the salsa mixed in with those beans. It's just really a great way to enhance the flavor of some of those things. And again, because the spices are so strong, you don't need sodium. So I always buy things that have very little sodium in them because we just get way too much sodium packed into our bodies, and well, there's a lot of things that we could talk about sodium in our bodies, but that's for another day. I think I have the wrong music playing. I thought about it when I got started, and I thought, oh, I already hit live and hit the go button. But since it's kind of a Mexican affair tonight, that's what we're gonna have. I've got some skirt steak that's marinating right now, kind of in a chimichurri sauce, and then I have some. I haven't started the sauce yet for the shrimp because I like to make a shrimp diablo. And let me tell you, if any of you guys are watching from Bike Week, we lost the shrimp diablo. We made a beautiful shrimp diablo. I mean, so many shrimp. It was just incredible. And I got some local shrimp that were phenomenal. I mean, really so super sweet, so yummy. And the shrimp diablo, after we were finished with eating dinner, we were so good at getting things cleaned up, we couldn't find the shrimp diablo, the leftover. All week long, we were looking for the leftover. Well, about a couple weeks ago, Melissa and I found it. It was sitting on top of, I make a homemade barbecue sauce, and so it was sitting on top of the barbecue sauce. So I just thought, because we had so many people, we had, one night on Bike Week, we had 24 people that we had cooked for. So I just thought, that it was a barbecue sauce, an extra barbecue sauce that we pulled out. So when we were making ribs the other night, Melissa and I went to the refrigerator, and lo and behold, we found the shrimp diablo. Oh my gosh, I was so sad because obviously you couldn't use it or eat it at that point. It was way too many weeks later. But when the guests were here during Bike Week, we were trying to find it because the shrimp diablo left over. This is a great Bloody Mary mix. So even if you do no alcohol Bloody Marys, it is phenomenal. And just incredible. Really, really good. And we couldn't find it, and that's what we were sad about. But I don't think I'll make that mistake again. It was pretty funny though. I'm nearly done with the cutting up of the tomatoes. I'm sure you're pleasantly happy about that. But it does take a little more time. But it's, again, I say so much, it's so worth it to have the tomatoes just cut, diced, everything. When you pour love into your food, people just love your food. I mean, it's just really pretty simple. And I just enjoy it so much because when you know what you're doing and then other people enjoy what you're doing, it's just like, oh, it's everybody's dream or wish come true. Okay, that is absolutely perfect. So I'm done cutting up the tomatoes. I'm going to just go ahead and slide those over there. And get some of that tomato juice off of the counter. Beautiful. Okay, so next up is the garlic. Again, remember, we want to have the garlic in because it helps emulsify and get a whole bunch of juices into what you're cooking. And again, we love garlic, so you're going to see me add quite a bit of garlic. You don't like garlic that much, you don't have to add that much. Let me get a great big spoon and get that all mixed around. Beautiful, yeah. So what the rule of thumb for me when I'm doing how much garlic to add it's like I want to make sure every bite that gets dipped into the salsa is going to have some garlic in it. And so I can just tell by how I mix this in and get it all mixed around that it's just going to, it'll be beautiful. So awesome. And that just creates, now when somebody walks in there, they say, oh, it smells heavenly in here. Well, that's one of the things that they smell right away. The garlic. It's just, I think garlic is heavenly. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to dice up the onion. I do. Yes, love.
Have a chip.
Yes, ma'am. Let me grab one over here. Here you go, love. You're very welcome. And thank you for asking so politely. I love your manners. She asked so nicely.
She's our grazer.
Yes, no worries. No worries. Hey, you know what you need to do, Mackenzie? Okay. I need to tell you something before you head off to that pool. That shake is thebomb.com. So you may want to make her one and you can share it with her before you hop out. And it won't matter. You all won't care. And you can see how we make our shakes. I'm not kidding. You thought pina colada was good and the orange was good? This season. Oh, Mackenzie, maybe you might want to have a sip of it with Mommy.
She did have a unicorn frappuccino.
Oh my gosh, you didn't give that to her. No.
I let her should get it.
Oh my God.
And let me say,
No.
she didn't even
No,
like it.
no. Oh good, she didn't like it. Good. Do not give that to people.
It's just pretty.
It's just, I think that's what we had a conversation. I posted that on Facebook the other day. And Lindsay, thank you. You didn't like it?
I didn't like it when it was old.
Oh, it tasted bad when it got old?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it got sour, it changed flavors.
Oh, yuck. That's just terrible.
But
So,
she came home and had a chocolate shake.
oh good.
But
Well, the chocolate shake is great.
I love that
Our
at
chocolate.
Starbucks.
I know. We had Lindsay, thank you for telling me about, I was wrong, I quoted 76 grams of sugar, and I don't know where, because I have a lot of friends who've posted that, and they have, sorry, what honey? Sure,
Okay.
ask Mama, she'll help
Let
you.
me do it.
But she said it was 36, Lindsay, if you're watching, just correct me, but she had corrected me on the post, she says, I'm sorry, it's 36, she has some friends who are baristas at Starbucks, and, I don't know, 36, 76, it's not good. That is not the kind of sugar you want to be putting into your body.
Frappuccino, period.
Yeah, no Frappuccino, period. I can show you, and I really should do this more often. I make one of the best Frappuccino shakes that you have ever had. In fact, I think
I made it yesterday.
it's Melissa's new favorite.
I'm addicted.
And it's so simple. And it tastes like having a, what does it taste like? Melissa?
It tastes like coffee heaven.
Coffee heaven. I mean, that's just what it is. It's just coffee heaven. So I guess we should do some of these more often. You know, kind of, I think we should do some more cooking. This is fun. I don't know if you're having fun, but I'm having fun. So, for those of you who I just saw some more people had joined, I want to share with you what we did. We started off with the guacamole, and I'll show it to you. It's right back here. That is just beautiful. And so we started with that recipe. That'll be, when you rewatch this, you'll see from the beginning what that is all about. And now we're making the salsa. And this is my homemade salsa that I had shared with people that came in just recently. I've been making this for about 28 and a half years. And the reason why I know it is because my husband and I got married 30 years ago. And he took me to what became our his favorite restaurant, became our favorite restaurant in the city of Chicago. And it was called Lavo's. And so when we were there, I had asked them so ever kindly for the recipe. And they gave most of the recipe out, but they missed a couple of ingredients. But we figured it out. And so now I call it my recipe, since I had to tweak it to make it mine anyway. So I've been making it for a very long time, and I will tell you that whenever I post a picture of it, people who have had it, I've made it like for, oh my gosh, Relay for Life. I've made buckets, gallons. I've made, goodness, I couldn't even tell you all these years how many gallons. That's a good question. Now my husband Brad just got home, so what I could do is like call over to him and ask him, you know, guesstimate, and that's 2 onions, by the way. Guesstimate how many gallons of salsa that I probably made in my lifetime. And I will tell you, we've made it fresh. I used to go weekly, but because the kids are gone and we don't have as many people over at the house anymore, you know, just having moved in, we haven't created dinner parties and stuff like that just yet. I think you've all seen that we're kind of in the throes of doing a lot of remodeling if you've been following any of my posts. So, you know, we haven't really done a lot of massive entertaining. I say that after I said, well, no, we had 24 people over at Bike Week, but, but it was because we had a lot of people from out of town. But it was just great, and I love that. That's like the best form of entertaining. But at any rate, I think I have made, I don't know, I couldn't even, probably a pool size full of salsa in my lifetime. That's pretty amazing. It makes me chuckle. All right, so the onion is added, and that's beautiful. I can see that when I mix it all up. And again, remember, because I don't have an actual quantity, 1 item for each, if you're there, you can just count what I've done. But basically, I just try to look at when someone puts a chip in there, that they're going to see what's going to come on in the chip, and it should be every ingredient that I'm putting in. And it's just a pretty easy rule of thumb. So, the next item that's going to go is going to be those jalapenos. Now, I'm going to tell you, these are really strong, and if I start to cough on you, I will apologize ahead of time. These have been so strong, so incredible, and because of that, it probably will just stick with core. And this is one of those guys that I will use, I could use. Now, you can't really see it that well. I'm just going to go ahead, we'll just go ahead and cut them here. Yeah. So I do take the stem off, but I talked earlier about why I keep the seeds in, and I'll just reiterate that for those of you who just came on. And I'll show you how to de-seed them also. I didn't do that before. So inside of the jalapeno, you have this meat that is encased with seeds. So if I open it up and pull it out, you can take that out, and it makes that nice and clean, and just use that. But because we like the seeds, we like the heat from the seeds, I keep the seeds in. And for this, it's time for me to put my glasses back on so that as I start to cut these incredible, flavorful, and very spicy jalapenos, sorry, I want to protect my eyes. And I recommend you doing that. Protect your eyes when you're working with something that squirts and it could get into your eye. Before I had to wear glasses, I would put safety goggles on, believe it or not.
Hello?
And Mark is here. That's Mackenzie's dad. It might get a little loud here. Mackenzie loves it when her father comes home, as all children do. As it should be, right? So super cute. Melissa, you really should make that shake. It's phenomenal. I mean, it's
I
just,
can't wait to try it.
you should try it, love. It's so, so, so good. I mean, it says summertime. It just says summertime. And can you just imagine the flavor of peach and mango together? Oh.
That's your favorite for summer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it sold out, unfortunately.
I know they always do.
And I only got 12.
Oh, it smells really good.
It does, doesn't it?
It reminds me of the orange and pina colada
Mix,
combined.
yeah. But it doesn't taste like that combined because I've done the orange and pina colada together before and it doesn't taste like that. So your jalapeno, again, just to refresh everybody's memory, you really want to have the jalapeno diced up, not in chunks like we did the tomatoes. So dicing is very, very important, just like it is with an onion. And again, when when you're doing a jalapeno and your breath is taken from you, you know it's a strong jalapeno. I might just stop at 3. We'll see. Maybe 4. I'll put 4 in for sure. But it's pretty powerful. And again, it doesn't hurt to make extra because you can always use it as sides in your Mexican dishes, And jalapeno, if you put a little lime juice on top of it and you chop it up, same thing with your onion, it'll stay fresh in your refrigerator for a very long time. So if you make a Mexican and you have leftovers, you're going to do it again the next day. It's so easy. So now you're getting a side benefit of watching a shake being made. So simple. That's easy. Melissa's just got ice in the pitcher, in the blender.
Got our
And
ice.
go ahead.
Add our purified water next. Even Mackenzie knows what purified water is.
And why do we use purified water?
Get rid of all sediments.
Yeah, because our water, we're live. If you'd like to, you want to say hi to everybody. Oh, we totally need at least 2 more jalapenos. So here's how I know. Even if they're strong flavor, many of those bites wouldn't have a jalapeno on it. So, you don't have to have a lot of jalapeno bite on one bite with a chip, but you want to definitely have something that has a chip that comes out with a jalapeno. All right, so I'm going to do 2 more jalapenos, and I think that should do the trick. And remember, I'm making circles and cutting on a circular basis through the length, and then I'm going to dice from there. If I line them up properly, I can save some time in my dicing.
Blender warning.
Oh, it'll be a little loud. So she's done water, she's done ice, and now she's going to crunch up her ice. It's the secret to making the best shake ever. We don't like to have our shakes that have crunchy ice in them. So if you blend your water and ice first, then you add your shake and whatever else you're putting in, whatever funness you're putting in your shake. But this one you actually need no additional fun. It just comes out beautiful. But so then you blend it, and after you get your water and ice all crunched up, then you just put your shake in and blend it, and voila. I mean, it's just incredible.
Perfect consistency.
Yeah, see how beautiful that is?
Like a smoothie.
Like a smoothie. And, what's really great about what she's doing over there is, if you have a shaker ball and bottle, you don't have to blend. But, I kind of live in the princess land. When I'm home, I want it blended because it's a treat. I mean, it's so special. It's so great. But like after I worked out, I had a couple of errands I had to do, and I just had my shake in a bottle, and I shook it right after working out, and it was great. It was so yummy.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's their best flavor yet.
Yeah, unbelievable. I'm so sorry if you're hearing about this today, and
They're going to come out.
if your intention, I hope they have a second release, because if your intention was to get that, you can't get it anymore. So, but I will tell you, I'm going to do a special, this is advance notice for some of you out there, for my new clients, and when I say go, it's not going to happen right away. I'm going to save this post, I think, for tomorrow. But I'm gonna have a couple of different contests, so you'll have a chance to win a canister. I bought 12. I know, right? I bought 12, and it'll be a fun competition. So if you win, you know, it'll be a lot of fun. But I bought 12, so I'm gonna save half of them for my family, maybe a few less. If I think that there's gonna be a re-release of it, I just have to wait and see. Because it's so darn good. I wish I had ordered 24. I'm not kidding. It's just that good.
It really is that good.
It just is that good.
I could live off, I think I found 2 shakes I can live off of. The coffee, mocha, and this.
Now, you have to understand the mocha that she's talking about, that's a recipe we came up with. So I'll share that recipe with you all later. But yeah, this one, you don't have to do anything to. It's just there. That is, of course, if you got it. Okay, enough of that. I'm not gonna make you sad anymore. That will make you sad. I don't want to make anybody sad. This is a happy cooking demonstration.
They're gonna come out with more. I know they will.
With the bonus of you know, this was all just guacamole and salsa, but now you got the bonus of a shake. How cool is that? Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do and put in is going to be our lime. And so what's really good about these limes is they already were pretty juicy, but to really juice them up, what you want to do, you can say hi. My husband is so camera shy. Too funny. Too funny. Okay, so you want to smash them down. Smash them down. It just gets the fruit to all of the inside kind of looks like an orange, you know, a grapefruit. So if you kind of smash it down, you release all of the incredible juices from the lime. And so you want to do that with all of your limes. And also don't forget to take the back end of your lime stuff. I've done it once before. Yes, ask Mama, because my hands are full of lime rind. So I don't want to get lime in the chip bag. So you want to take those little seeds off. I've missed one before and it got into the salsa and I didn't see it fall in. So if you get them nice and juicy, it'll be just great. Well, be careful, honey. That frog is almost too big for her. She's hard for her to carry and see things. She almost tumbled right into the refrigerator. Don't you love the sound of little people in your house? I miss it. Of course, those of you who are chime in, you may have little people still at your house.
Never don't worry.
All right, so I had about 5 limes that are going to go into this. And I may save half of one, or because I already have a half one in this dish, because we like to have the extra limes to put onto, squish onto our tacos. So I think to protect my eyes, I'm going to, because I juiced these up pretty well, I'm going to keep my glasses on so I don't get sprayed in my eye. Getting the either jalapeno or lime in your eye, it's not good. Oh, just so awesome. I just love how lime smells. When you squish it up like that and release the juices, and you get the outside of the lime kind of going, it's just so fresh, so fresh. Let's see. Hey, Dawn. Hey, Megan. Good that you could join us. So you missed the beginning. I made the guacamole, and now I'm making the salsa recipe. So it's out of the bag. It's no longer going to be a secret. My girlfriend Sarah, she says, Laura, you need to start doing this and put them on YouTube. A friend of mine just did a really cool YouTube, and so I said, you know what, I need to do that. So I am going to start doing some YouTube, then they'll always be saved, because this right now is just a live video. So there's some trick. I'll figure out the trick and we'll be able to have it forever saved. The only unfortunate is we don't have a filming studio. If we had a filming studio, it would be so much easier, right? Because you could kind of stop, fade in, come out and say, okay, now we've done all the limes are in here. And, and then you can start up again. The next ingredient is, and then you could fade out and get all of that next ingredient in. We don't have that luxury here. So, unfortunately, I can't see any additional questions that you have. If you do have any, just go ahead and share some love. You can do some hearts just to say that you're there. Always nice to hear from people. But again, we're juicing up these limes really, really well. You want to get all of the meat, all of that great meat. You see that meat coming out of the lime? You want to try to get all of that into your salsa, into your bowl. And these, because we juice them, it's just beautiful. I don't know if you can see this bowl, but look at the amount of juice that's just coming in. Oh, so awesome. So when I told you we added the garlic as the second ingredient, there's a reason for that, and it just helps bring out the natural flavors of the other ingredients. The tomato was the first ingredient. Then we did the onion after we put the garlic in. So tomato, then the garlic, and then the onion. And I don't do the pink Himalayan salt until the very end. And the reason being is because that's really going to be the last thing you want to put in. One time, I made some incredible salsa. I mean, I picked out the best of the best, and I ruined it because I had too much salt. I used too much salt. I wasn't paying attention. The kids were little at the time, and they were running around. And our friends Eve and Paul had come for a visit to Florida. This is our first time that we moved to Florida. And I was like, I can't believe I ruined the whole recipe. And I tried so hard. It was like, I had to just give it up. And yeah, guac is first. I did the guac first. Yep. But I had to give it up and start all over. Luckily, even Paul had already had my salsa before, and they knew it was worth the wait. But so sad. What a waste. And time consuming, because you can see, this does take a little time to do, right? But so worth it. Just so worth it. Okay, this is juicing up so well. And because I squished those limes up, I'm really getting the inside of the meat out of I'm going to save some of this lime juice, some of those limes for tonight's dinner. And Dawn, now you're on. You're able to come over. Anyone who's looking and who's watching want to come for dinner, you know we have more than enough food. So, Dawn, just so you're on, I'll show you the guac. Yum, yum. Okay, and that guac, actually, now that it's made, well, I'm going to put it in the refrigerator. I like to have it setting up, but my husband doesn't like to have cold guacamole, but I like to have it setting up for about 30 minutes in the refrigerator, so it just gets a little bit of, hi Tanya, good to see you. It just gets a little bit stacked up, and it's pretty warm here in Florida today, so as you can tell, I'm sweating, but I'm really sweating because those jalapeno were just incredible. Okay, so the next ingredient, and we're almost down to the last two ingredients. Well, we are down to the last two ingredients. The last two, it's going to be the cilantro and the pink Himalayan salt. And remember, in our house, no one likes the seed or the sticks of the be over shortly. Cool beans. No one likes to have the part of the, it's just too, I'm lost for words. What do we call these guys? So we pull off the leaves and we leave the sticks to the side. Most of the time, I don't mind having the stems. Thank you. Did somebody say stems? No. It came to my brain. Somebody must have been thinking it with me. So no one likes the stems, but I do like to use stems when I am cooking with other recipes, but not this recipe, especially something that's so delicate that's going to go on a chip. And so I pre-washed this, but I should have, before we started working together, I really should have done this ahead of time, but this is actually my first cooking video that I've done for everybody, and it came out of the blue that I should do it this way. I think, Lindsay, if you're watching, you're the reason why I'm doing it, because I felt so guilty when I posted the ingredients that I was making guacamole. I felt so guilty that I didn't send the recipe out. And it was Easter weekend that came up, and my son had just left when I had posted the picture that I was making it. I was actually making it because he was there. He was here visiting. He had his spring break. He's teaching in Shelby County. And so he came down when the kids were on spring break, and he came down for a visit. And so I was enjoying the time with him, and I never got back to making the recipe. So I was feeling guilty and feeling terrible. Hey, Mark. Everyone can say hi to Mark. That's Mackenzie's dad. Anyway, so Sarah said, why don't you just make it online? I mean, you're out live all the time anyway. Why not do something that's like this so that people see you later, see you soon. They're going to go to the big pool. Why don't you do something that's for everybody, that they can see it? And so many people have asked me for my salsa recipe, and then when the guacamole recipe came up, it was just like, well, that's a good idea. So I've never been live this long before, and we don't have the luxury of fading in and fading out and saying, well, now that we've got this all chopped up and onto the next ingredient, we don't have that luxury. You just kind of have to listen to me. And if anybody asks questions or has something and I can see it, I'll see sometimes the screen moves and sometimes it doesn't. I have not really mastered how to get more of the feedback, although it might be stuck because I have this message up there. Okay, maybe, I don't know. My messenger, I should probably turn messenger feed off, and then I'll have a better ability. But why I'm pulling this off is because the stems are actually really, really, they're strong, and you don't want the cilantro stem flavor to monopolize your salsa, because it could do that easily. Okay, so she's so excited. She wants, if you're hearing the noise in the background, that's Mackenzie. She's my goddaughter, and she's just so freaking cute. But we have a pool, a big community pool, and she went a week ago before the slide opened. She was there a day before the slide opened. Plus it was a little chilly, but today it's 88, slide is open, it's Friday, and I think over in our community pool, I mean, it's just going to be a spectacular event for any young person to enjoy. And there's a nice little walk-in, so she's terribly thrilled if you can't tell. She's like, Daddy, Mommy, let's go, and they were patiently waiting for Mark to arrive. So that's what was going on here. So, was that just not the most incredible shake ever?
I drink it really fast.
Now, I'm not going to say, I'm not really talking about Melissa because she's here, but she's pretty particular about her shakes.
I am.
So we scored a big one.
Yes.
We scored a big one. And I really hope they
better
release
and
it.
better.
Yeah. Oh, you don't have to worry about running it.
Keep it
Rinsed. Or, yeah.
doesn't stick.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Those
So-
shakes are hard to clean once they stick.
Oh, if they stick, it's a monster to clean up. So this is the tedious part of making salsa. I will say that, but it's so worth it because fresh salsa, there's nothing better. This recipe that you're getting, I mean, I'm telling you, people would have given their right arm, well, not really, but to get this recipe. Yeah, they have the cards. So the fact that you're getting it, it's just so awesome. It really pleases my heart so much that you're getting it, and I really appreciate those of you who are staying on so long. Some of you stayed on the entire time since I got started with the guacamole. And those of you who are following along, I didn't even ask that. Some of you may have already gotten your ingredients and you're kind of following along with me, which is fabulous. Such a great idea. And again, you could be doing your cilantro, stems and all, in the food processor. But even when you do that, my husband, he's the first one to say, you did that with the food processor. And he always knows. So he's like, please don't do that if you're going to the trouble of making it. Don't put those stems in. Because it just changes the texture and the dimensions of the flavor of what you're putting in. Of course, if you run out of cilantro and you don't have enough, put a few stems in, but really chop it up finely. Because it'll increase the flavor of that herb. Okay, I have a big healthy stack. I don't know if you can see that. That's a nice healthy stack to work with. And again, you don't want to have all the leaves in there for several reasons. But if you get this chopped up, I'll run my knife one direction, and I'm trying to cut it clean. So it's always a good idea to sharpen your knife right before you, it's always a good idea to sharpen your knife right before you use it anyway, but especially when you're working with something that's delicate. Because if you can hear the knife go through, it's getting all the way through to the cutting board. And with any herb, anytime you put pressure or cut on it, it releases its first flavor. So I talked earlier when we were doing the guacamole, is that I would hold a bunch here and use the scissor. I'm not doing that today because that takes a lot of time. But rather, I'm just going to work gingerly with cutting straight through into, and I just hit one direction and the next direction, and that should be perfect. So that you don't have any big leaves. And that should be absolutely beautiful. So I did just scrape my knife along the cutting board. They say not to do that, it dulls your knife. I do have a tool in the kitchen that I use, and it scoops everything up, but I didn't pull it out ahead of time. And in order for me to find it, I thought, no, let's just go ahead and I'll be okay with sharpening my knife again. It'll be all right. So they always say too, once a year, depending on how much you use your knives, that you should have them take them to the butcher, and you can do that here. I know you can do it at Publix. You used to be able to do it at Kroger. So I think any big chain you can do this, or your butcher, and have them grind them up and sharpen them professionally. That's always recommended. Since the move, I haven't done that, but it's always a good idea. Oh, this is just absolutely perfect. I can see already that was just the exact amount that we wanted to use. So the only other thing, once I get this mixed up, the next thing to do, and this is where it takes time. Remember I said less is more? Well, that is with the pink Himalayan salt. Less is always more. And you may, at the end, find that you don't have enough lime flavor. So you'll figure out how you like your salsa to taste the best. But I always know that if I don't feel that I have a hint of lime in my juice here, then I know I don't have enough lime in here. So I won't test it until after I get the pink Himalayan salt in. But I know that I have the perfect amount of garlic because I told you that trick in the very beginning. So now it's up to using this last ingredient into, and that's the pink Himalayan salt. Please don't use any other salt if you're going to go to the trouble of making salsa or making guacamole. Pink Himalayan salt is the only thing you want to put in your dish. So I know, as I was telling you that one story years and years and years ago when the kids were babies, I overdid it on the pink Himalayan salt. So we're not going to overdo it. We're just going to let it sit. So I've covered the top, and now I'm going to let that all just sit together and get it nice and mixed up. Oh, that just looks beautiful. So when you hand cut everything, you can see the difference. Isn't that just gorgeous? It just is beautiful. if you have the time and you know you want to make it, because I said this will last a good 2-3 weeks. It won't last that long in this house because everybody eats it, and we put it on so many dishes. It's fresh, it's healthy, it's clean. I mean, it's one of those things that you can put on just about everything that you love, and just have it as a side, just chips and salsa. Nothing better. Okay, so now is the time to test it. So I'm just going to use a little bit of a chip, and I'm going to try to grab, when you test it, you want to grab where the flavor of the juice is, but try not to, try to get a mixture of everything. But where the juice is, because it's all going to sit in the same juice, so you want to know what that juice tastes like. Definitely the jalapenos are strong. But in such a great way. So there's just not enough salt, just a little bit more salt. And I'm going to do one more of those limes, and then it should be perfect. And I'm going to get as much of the meat out of this lime that I can, because this is the last one that's going to go in. Should have put my glasses on for this, because this is so incredibly juicy. I don't know if you saw that, but it just blew up on me. Okay. Wow. That's just great. So, I am so excited, and I'm so thankful that you all joined us. And I didn't even know I was going to have everyone come in at the mid-range, but it worked out fine. I don't think it was too much of a distraction, but you can let me know if you did. I think it was kind of fun just to see how we live in this household. Dawn, we'll see you soon. It'd be great to have you. You know, Mark and Melissa and Mackenzie are staying for dinner too. So anybody else who's out there, just give me a call. You know my number. I hope you enjoyed this taping. And I know we'll be doing some more. I can already see some of the fun things that we can do together. So if you have ideas or you've seen recipes that I've posted and you want me to make it for you, it'd be great. I'll be happy to do that. This has been a lot of fun. So I hope you have a fabulous weekend, everybody. And enjoy your salsa and enjoy your guacamole. All right. Bye.